Good evening. My name is Lisa Blauville, and this is my research defense for our final assignment for class. I hope you all enjoy learning about Madam C.J. Walker. I know that I enjoyed doing my research paper about her and focusing mainly on her philanthropy. Without further ado, attached is my abstract. I also have it attached to the assignment, so I won't go too far into it. But essentially, Madam C.J. Walker is considered the first Black female millionaire in the United States. And though her story of becoming from rags to riches, she was the first free-born child in her family. Her family worked on a cotton plantation. They were sharecroppers. She was orphaned at a pretty young age and lived with her sister, where she became a washerwoman. She was widowed quite young. She became a single mother. She worked tirelessly to make sure that her daughter, Lilia, went to college and got an education. And as she was going through a divorce, she ended up having a scalp issue where she was losing much of her hair. And that kind of sparked her interest in beauty products. Madam C.J. Walker actually produced Black focused beauty products. She started with hair products. There was a hair growing, her wonderful hair growing serum. Then she had a vegetable shampoo. And she also had a hair care system that was supposed to be geared towards creating a softer and a straighter hairstyle for Black women. Something that I learned that was really interesting about her goals as far as being a beauty entrepreneur. Not only was she focusing on women, Black women in particular, because that was the community that she was part of, but also this was the Jim Crow era. This was the early 1900s, and she wanted Black women to feel better about themselves on the outside so that they could see their self-worth on the inside, so that they could continue to grow and become part of society and reach out for opportunities like she had. So that was something that was really cool. But really, what I was focusing on was the fact that Madam C.J. Walker, when she became incredibly successful, her goal was to share that success through philanthropy. So I was arguing, my research question was really basically, how was Madam C.J. Walker truly the American dream? And to me, the American dream is not only reaching your goals that you want, but also giving back to the community, giving back to the United States, and raising other Americans up with you. And that's really what she did. So even though she achieved all of these things, um, she broke through all of these barriers. She wanted other people to also break through these barriers. So she employed thousands of Black women and migrant women. She also educated them. She created these beauty schools that these women could become their own entrepreneurs. They could become salon owners. They could work in a salon, or they could become a Walker agent and they could sell products like her Glossine product. So that was one way that she gave back to the community through her philanthropy. Here I have one of the many primary source documents that I used for my my research. Most of my primary source documents actually came from the Indiana um, Historical Society, because Madam C.J. Walker's manufacturing company was headquartered in Indianapolis. So the factory was in Indianapolis. So the Indiana Historical Society has had access to so many products that came out of that factory, out of her home in that area. So here we have a check that was written out to to Mrs. Maud Mandy, who was the treasurer of the PTA, the Parent Teacher Association for the Young Women's um, uh, Christian Association. So it's the YMCA, but it's for women, which was one of the brainchild of Madame C.J. Walker. So here we have just one of the pieces of evidence that shows that she was giving as much money as she could to these particular organizations. Here we have a photograph, Madam C.J. Walker, the second one from the left, in front of the YMCA in Indianapolis, which was a Black YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association, that she helped open. She helped fund it. She gave $1,000, which was a monumental amount of money during this time period, to open this particular YMCA. To her immediate left, our right, that's actually Booker T. Washington, which was a well-known Black activist. I also have a photo of him on the right. They worked together. They had a rocky relationship. He wasn't really very respectful of Madam C.J. Walker in the beginning part of her entrepreneurship. But they were able to work together. They gained a relationship throughout their charitable work. She was also associated with W.E.B. Du Bois, who was also a Black philanthropist, and Mary McLeod Bethune, who was also an activist, but she also founded a all-girls school in Florida, who Madam C.J. Walker was incredibly fond of. Upon her death, she actually ceded quite a bit of money to that particular organization through her estate. So here I have a photograph of someone who worked alongside her. This is Freeman Ransom, who was her attorney and also the manager for her company. There are a multitude of letters that I found of Ransom and Walker writing back and forth. In this particular letter here, at the end, he talks about a donation to the YMCA, which he would have been in charge of making that actually happen. But he would advise her what to do and what not to do. But ultimately, Walker was the one who was driving the force of the finances of her company. So, so thankfully, let me just return to this. Thankfully, my research was done all online. I live in New Jersey. I was able to go onto the Indiana Historical Society's website, and they digitized quite a bit of documentation on Madame C.J. Walker, thankfully. And also a secondary source that pointed me in the right direction a lot was the Madam C.J. Walker Gospel of Giving. And that was by Tyrone McKinley Freeman. And he is a historian who is based on his focus is the philanthropy of Madam C.J. Walker, which was really cool for me to see because I had started this research thinking, okay, I'm going to have to kind of pull this from all different directions, but that actually guided me towards where I wanted to go. So, um, the reason why this particular research is incredibly important is there are definitely reasons because she's a woman, because she's Black. These are two groups that are definitely not represented enough in history. And but also just taking the mere fact that she became a millionaire, and she did it essentially by herself. The American dream is always alluring to Americans. That's part of our capitalistic society. But I almost want to rewrite the reason for the American dream. So I truly believe with my success, I still need to have Christian charity. And I think that Madam C.J. Walker still had not let this wealth and success go to her head. And she still gave back and wanted to raise other people up with her. So, with that, I want to talk about her legacy a little bit. Here I have two photographs of the same woman. This is Madam C.J. Walker's only daughter. Her name is Lilia, but she ended up changing her name later to Aaliyah, A apostrophe Lilia. And she took over the Walker Manufacturing Company upon the death of her mother in 1919. She continued the company and it became wildly successful throughout the years that she was in charge. But also, she kept the charity going. She asked her employees and her agents to continue to give back to the society as her mother would have wanted them to do. Today, Madam C.J. Walker's company still exists. We're talking about over 100 years ago. Madam C.J. Walker created her shampoos for Black women, and Madame, which is what the company is called now, continues to give back to the Black community. They also continue to produce products that are geared towards Black women. So um, I hope that you enjoyed my presentation. I really enjoyed learning about this. I do think that we all could learn from this particular research and story. I think that we as Americans in society that can be materialistic, society where we want to be successful, we want to have as much money as we can, we want to live in luxury. We need to take a step back and we need to look at the other people that need our help. We need to continue to raise other Americans up instead of pushing them down so that we can rise up. Um, we want to make sure that we are giving back to the less fortunate or people who might not even have the opportunities. Um, if anyone has any questions, please comment below, and I can't wait to talk to you. Thank you.